Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. That's me, guys. And I got some cool releases today I'm going to show you. A couple of these are new releases, but I thought I would explore the silent movie. That's right. I mean, maybe a lot of you guys aren't familiar with silent movies, or you might not be fans at all. Maybe you just haven't seen the right one and all that and stuff. But I know there's a silent movie for everybody. You just gotta find the right one. So today, maybe I'll help you discover that. And for fans out there that are already fans, these are some releases that are definitely stuff to find, to check out there. So first up, let's get into this is a release from Eureka Masters of Cinema series. This is one of their early releases. Well, not too early. This is number 146, and they put out a lot of really good releases. This is a movie directed by the great Joseph von Sternberg, who is famous for discovering and working with Marlene Dietrich, starting with The Blue Angel, Morocco, all of that. They worked up until like 1936 at Paramount, made some beautiful movies, some classics and stuff. But this is a movie from 1928, and it stars a German actor who was like one of the biggest stars at that time in the world, and he's pretty much forgotten nowadays. But some of the very first Academy Awards that were held back then, he had won Best Actor, I think, for The Last Laugh, maybe. I probably got that wrong, but there's a movie he won an Oscar for that's now considered lost. Which sucks, because I would have loved to have seen that. But the actor I'm talking about is Emil Jannings, and he's kind of a big guy, and he was definitely very theatrical actor. We're not theatrical in the way of kind of boring or bland, but he was very, he was almost designed for the silent movie, and he basically went back to Germany. He made some films over here in America. He basically went back to Germany, and he pretty much was, one of Hitler's favorite actors, and he pretty much was doing movies for the Nazis and stuff. So and then after that, he just slipped into obscurity, which, but, apart from his political suasions and all that crazy shit that he did, he made some really good movies, and The Last Command also stars the great William Powell. People forget William Powell, who's famous for The Thin Man, amongst some of the really good movies he made in the 30s, like My Man Godfrey, and he's made a lot. But anyways, he started as a silent film actor, and he was pretty big. He was really famous during the silent film period, and then he had a second career when sound films kicked off, and he was really famous, and then he got really more famous, and he was big in the 40s too. So William Powell, check out his career. He's done a lot of good movies, but this is a movie called The Last Command. It's made for Paramount, and it's basically tells the tale of the Russian Revolution is happening. Emil Jannings was a high-ranking officer, a general, or something like that. And he comes over here. He like basically exiles to America. He makes his way to Hollywood somehow, and it's basically kind of a movie within a movie. William Powell plays a director, silent movie director. Basically, they discover him, and they put him in a movie, and it's basically playing himself, and they don't know who he is, really. And they start filming him and stuff, and he just really comes to life in front of the lens and stuff. They're looking at him like he's so good, not knowing who he really is, because he's really that person. So anyways, really good movie. It's definitely a movie if you like, you're interested in old Hollywood. It shows a lot of behind the scenes stuff, equipment and cameras and studio settings and stuff back then, and really good. William Powell's really good in this movie. This is also available in a Criterion set. I think it's called Three from Joseph Sternberg, and there's 3 silent movies. This is one of them. I don't know if it's still in print or if it's even on Blu-ray. It might be. I think they re-released it. I have the DVD edition of that box set, but this is the Blu-ray of just The Last Command. So there you go. Check that out. This is a newer release of a Blu-ray. This is part of the Paramount Presents line of reissues that they've been successfully putting out, and I'm not sure what number they're up to now. I think I have like maybe 3 or 4 of them. This is number 25, and this is a movie I've actually never owned, and I've actually never seen the full movie. So I snatched it up in a heartbeat, and that's I'm about to lose it. 1921's The Sheik, and it's famous for starring Rudolph Valentino, because at about this time in Hollywood, he was one of the biggest stars in the world. He was, known for his good looks and his moves, his dancing abilities, his just, female fans just loved him. They fainted, and he was just adored by everyone. But yeah, The Sheik is one of the more famous movies. I believe The Son of the Sheik came out at one point after this. Everything. He had a short-lived career. It was only on maybe a span of 5-6 years or something. Then he died, I believe, in 1928, 27, something like that. Maybe before that, but he was a very short career, but he was he was a true star that burned out, and stuff. So he was one of the most famous silent, movie actors of all time. So Rudolph Valentino, and this is pretty nice. It's a really nice package. It's really nice. It comes with a digital download. Center opens up, as do the other editions, with a copy of an original poster. It doesn't have a whole lot of special stuff on here. There's about I'll say it's about a 20 minute little short behind the scenes of the movie. It's called 100 Years with the Sheik, because this movie is 100 years old last year when it came out. So it's hard to believe that you're looking at a movie that's over 100 years old, and these people are probably like 120, 140 years old now. It's just so hard to believe that everyone in this movie and that made the movie are no longer here on Earth, and it's just so weird that it goes so far back and everything. It can still be enjoyed in this time. So there you go, guys. The Sheik. Definitely want to add that to your collection. It is a very dramatic movie. Generally, I'm not really into super dramatic silent movies. There's some really good ones, silent movies let me just have a small little break here. Because a lot of times people think, silent movies are these herky-jerky, sped-up movies, usually stuff like the Keystone Cops, where they're, throwing pies in people's faces, and cops running and chasing, and everything going super fast. That's because the projection speed of silent movies were slower. They were, I forgot how many frames per second they were filmed on. Now stuff's made 24 frames. But generally, a lot of times when these movies get transferred over, especially, the 1950s and 60s, these got transferred over for television, and they didn't, properly restore the stuff and slow it down to the correct speed or fix it up any or not. They just threw it out there, and people got used to that. So silent movies are not supposed to be that way, which, to me, that's a kind of a turn off. I don't want to watch it like that, but that's one of the things, and I think that could turn people off towards them. I mean, some movies can be very, very dramatic, because they're coming from the stage, and that's how the stage, presented. That was also the problem with early sound movies. It was they approached it like you're watching a show on Broadway or a play or something, very theatrical, very, stiff, not a lot of camera movement, stuff like that. But with silent movies, that's one of the biggest downfalls of that. And I think that really keeps people from discovering, because I'm 45, and I discovered silent movies when I was like 12, 13, something like that. And I realized it shouldn't have been sped up like that, but I still watched other ones, and and everything. And comedies, you can't go wrong with silent comedy. I mean, you got Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd. You got the silent movies of Laurel and Hardy, which sometimes people forget about. Even W.C. Fields made some really good silent movies before his, more famous, talking sound films of the 30s. So there's a lot of stuff out there to discover in the silent movie world. One last point I'll make about silent movies is that they say that like over 80 to 90% of all movies made, silent movies, from 1898 or something to 1927, are gone forever, erased, lost, destroyed, nowhere to be found. I mean, that's a lot of movies. 80% of everything made during a 20-30 year period is gone forever. So it's really sad, because back then they would just, after the movie had its run through the States or through wherever it was being shown, it would come back to the distributor. The distributor would sometimes chuck it. They would recycle it basically and get get some of the silver nitrate out of the film, because they were on nitrate film. And a lot of times warehouses full of the movies back then would catch on fire because nitrate was highly, highly flammable. And if it wasn't stored properly, it'd be like a bomb waiting to go off, just waiting for a cigarette thrown down or something, and or getting too hot being stored and stuff. So there was like 3 major studio warehouse fires between, I think, the 20s and like 1960 or 70 or something, which pretty much wiped out a lot of the studio silent movies stuff, unfortunately. I mean, a lot of there's some film companies that were making silent movies back then that there's no movies to show as an example of that studio, because all their films got destroyed. Because it's kind of like having your family, 20 years of your family photos, wiped out. No negative, nobody, which, and then people even that seen those movies back then, they even tell you about it are not here. So it's just, it really sucks. I mean, there's been some really good discoveries of stuff, like Metropolis was found down in Brazil, South America somewhere, and they found some stuff and they were able to restore it. There's still some really famous stuff that's lost, and they find little bits sometimes. But yeah, there you go. I didn't want to go off on that, but just to kind of fill in silent stuff for you, because there's a lot of history just in the silent movie age, and just some of the problems like that and everything. I have an episode, I don't know if I've released it yet by the time you see this, but I did one on the early film Western stars, or some of the early cowboys of Hollywood. People like Harry Carey Jr., gosh, there's a bunch of guys. But one I kind of focused on in that was William S. Hart. Now, he was one of the biggest stars back in the 20s, and I think he made his last movie like in 1925, and he retired pretty much. But he did a lot of movies. He was one of the biggest stars on earth. I think he died in the 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. He retired and kind of lived his life. But this is a movie that I picked up that is one of his more famous movies, and he actually kind of plays the bad guy in it, which I thought was really cool. And it's called The Toll Gate. And this is a flipper case image release from 2000 or 1998. This came out, so it's an early DVD. It's in a flipper box. This is a really good movie. I mean, it's only like maybe 59 minutes or 73 minutes, and it's a short movie. So and he kind of plays the bad guy. He's kind of got like he's part of a gang, and they're robbing trains, and they're doing stuff like that. He has a member of his gang kind of backstab him, and it's kind of a tale of revenge and redemption and stuff. So it's really pretty good, and it moves along at a good pace, and it's pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, for me, some of these are curios. I mean, I don't really like a lot of the Western stars during this period just because of the way they dressed. They were kind of overdone in the dressing. Their cowboy hats were just huge and kind of ridiculous looking, but you kind of got to go through some of them, and you'll find some good ones. But The Toll Gate, really good. William S. Hart's really good. But the bad thing about that is a lot of his movies aren't on good. They don't have any really great releases on DVD and Blu-ray. A lot of his stuff is on some, because a lot of his stuff's in the public domain, and a lot of this stuff is out, on DVD, like from a 16 millimeter print, and it's been copied a million times, and it just don't look good, or a wrong projection speed or something. So a lot of his work gets kind of forgotten about and covered up and everything. But this is one of his more famous movies. It was made in 1920. So yeah, it's it's hard to believe it's 122 years old. But there you go, The Toll Gate, and it's kind of hard to find. I mean, I believe this is one of the best releases of it, the image release, and it's also got a bonus Max Sennett short. It's kind of a parody of Western movies, so it's on there. And finally, guys, this is an example of what can be done with some of these silent movies in this age of technology and stuff. These are two Western movies from the 20s, or the teens actually, and they're early examples of John Ford. These are two John Ford Westerns starring Harry Carey Jr. or Harry Carey Sr. and Harry Carey Jr. would be in a lot of John Ford's movies in the 50s and 60s and stuff, but this was his father. And these are some early works by John Ford. This is the Eureka Masters of Cinema series. It's kind of a twofer with Hellbent and Straight Shooting, which are really good. And a company like this, putting out these movies with bonuses and audio commentary and stuff, is the way to do it. I mean, it's really nice packaging. Looks great. It's got some interviews on there. It's got a booklet. It's got a pretty cool slipcase, and you can kind of change the picture up between the two. But yeah, they're two early John Ford westerns, silent westerns. There's a good part of these he made with Harry Carey that are lost, that John Ford made. So it's awesome that we still have these. These were made for Universal back in 1917 and 1918. So both of them together run about 115 minutes. So we're about roughly an hour each. So definitely something to pick up. Hellbent and Straight Shooting. I think I like Hellbent the best of the two, but I only watched them once. And there's also a great video essay by Tad Gallagher on here where it kind of talks about some of the stuff back then, Harry Carey and John Ford, a little bit of, early stuff about John Ford, how he got in the movies, and he basically followed his brother Francis Ford, no relation to Francis Ford Coppola, but they kind of got in the movies together and everything. And so yeah, there you go, Straight Shooting and Hellbent. Pick that up. It's I think it came out 2 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago. But yeah, Eureka put it out, and I believe Kino has put it out, or I think there's another company has put these out separately. But I recommend you get that, guys, because if you got just a little bit of curiosity, like what were silent westerns like, those are some good starting places. Get those. Those are some good ones. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk so long, but I wanted to kind of give you a backstory and some of this stuff, because if you're just hanging on this video, you're just like, should I skip it or something? Maybe you want to listen to some of this and kind of go back and get into some of this, because it's kind of cool. But me being into classic movies, silent movies, everything for over 32, 33 years now. I haven't yet to see a lot of silent movies myself, and especially silent westerns. It's kind of a new thing for me to see some of these. I've just now started getting them, and one of the things that's really prevented me from that is just having decent releases, because you can get a $5 edition off eBay of some public domain crappy print, and it's not going to amaze you. You're not going to see what's great about this. If it's a movie you can barely see, or it's got a horrid piano score or organ score that just is, so those are some good examples of those. So yeah, check those out. Do some homework and check them out. And hope you liked this episode, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Give me a comment, questions, anything. Let me know in the comments. And if you like this episode, guys, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out my past episodes, because I've got quite a few videos on here. So until next time, guys, I'm Mike. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again later.